Welcome back to the Map for College learning community. My name is Ernest Manelli, founder of My Action Plan for College. And this video is going to discuss the importance of developing an effective skipping strategy when you're taking a standardized test in math. Now, some tests that you take, especially for high school, for certain coursework that you're taking, some math tests are very layered, very sequential, and in the case of specifically high school geometry, questions might build upon each other based on topics studied in recent lessons. However, on standardized tests, for the most part, unless you encounter a combination question in which two or three questions have to do with a chart or a graph, for example, unless you're dealing with combination questions on standardized tests, such as the SAT or the ACT, mathematics questions tend to be, for all purposes, independent contractors. In other words, question one could be about probability. Question two could be about algebra, systems of equations. Question three could be about geometry. Question four could be a right triangle. Question five could be something about the equation of a circle. So math questions tend to jump from topic to topic on these standardized tests, but you can turn that game around and utilize it to your advantage. For example, I believe very strongly that before you walk into a test, you should develop a strategy ahead of time that emphasizes your strengths to put you in a better frame of mind, to build momentum for the test, and to get more raw points throughout the process. So I'll elaborate on what I mean by playing to your strengths. Back in the 1980s, the San Francisco 49ers, under coach Bill Walsh and quarterback Joe Montana, they featured a style of play known as the West Coast offense, what has become known to be the West Coast offense. And during practice the week before each game, they would really hone in on their first 25 plays from scrimmage. They would practice them, they would sequence them, and when they would get into the game situation, those first 25 plays that they had run consistently to perfection during practice that week, they would run those first 25 plays. So they knew the first 25 plays they were going to come out of the gates with, but the opponent didn't. And they had practiced them to such a high level of synergy and collaboration that they were extremely successful. Extremely successful to the point where they won 4 Super Bowls in a decade, which was amazing. So I'm not necessarily asking you to take that level of perfection because, again, you're responding to questions that are brand new to you each time when you take a test, especially a standardized test. But what I mean is that if you can develop that sense of what quote unquote plays you are going to call, I'll give an example. Let's say in mathematics, you know that your strength is geometry. One of your main strengths is geometry. What I would advocate for a student in that situation, I would advocate going through with a mindset that when you approach a math section, when you see a geometry question, you're going to plug through and do it as attentively and as successfully so you can get the raw point, get the confidence of having gone through the problem solving cycle successfully, and then move on to the next question. In other words, because 2/7 approximately 2 out of every 7 math questions on the SAT involves geometry, and another 2 out of 7 math questions on the SAT involve algebra. If you had the mindset that I'm going to tackle my geometry questions and my algebra questions first, then you would effectively get through the first 4/7 approximately of that math section with a high degree of success and with a high degree of momentum. Now, let's say instead of geometry and algebra, let's say you really like data, statistics, and probability, graphs, charts, and informational text. Let's say you're really great at graphing and understanding certain equations and slope of a line. Whatever your strengths are, I would go into a test with the mindset that you're going to do the questions that come the easiest to you. Now, they may not come easy in the sense of problem solving, but I say come easy in the sense that if you do the problem solving, pay attention to details, you're going to get them right. So there's a high degree of fidelity in terms of success rate. If you can do those questions first, in general, you will not spend all that much time. Even with the high degree of accuracy, you still won't need all that much time on those questions that you consider to be relatively easy or straightforward for you and your learning purposes. Then the second time through a math section, and then the other questions just skip. Second time through a math section, then you might want to tackle questions that instead of being easier for you, are more along the medium scale of difficulty. Questions that you can approach, but questions that might take a little bit more time with a little bit more methodical problem solving. It's perfectly okay. You will take enough time to get those correct with a high degree of accuracy, and then you'll have a chance to move on and build further progress. If you wish to do a third wave through a section, first the easies, then the mediums, then the more challenging questions. If you save a few of the most challenging math questions for the end, by virtue of the fact that you will have spent a very efficient parameter of time, especially on the easy questions and somewhat on the medium questions, you will then have that corresponding flexibility to handle the most challenging questions, and you'll be able to be the most thoughtful about those questions that need the most care. So whether you're taking the SAT or the ACT, I think you, based on your own math profile, should determine what your strengths are and ahead of time just make a decision. When I see a certain category of problem, I am going to look at it, read the problem carefully and correctly. I'm going to do all the steps, show my work on scratch paper, and I'm going to go through, get it correct, get the raw point, then move on to the next question. If you can build that as a habit of practice during your formative instructional time when you're preparing for the standardized tests, then when you get to test day, that habit of skipping strategies, employing those skipping strategies will be second nature based on the fact that you've already become accustomed to it. So we would be happy to discuss your test preparation pathway and what specific learning styles you have. Please feel free to contact us if you wish. My name is Ernest Manelli, founder of My Action Plan for College. Please feel free to like this video, subscribe to our growing YouTube channel, and we have more wonderful educational content to come. Thank you very much.